global skeptics, but all atheists have to be. Okay? And that's it. That's all there is to presuppositionalism. It's just nothing more than that.
Yeah, I mean, some of the trends I've noticed are that I've never seen a presupper provide a formal inference, no matter how many times you ask.
Yeah, and it's not even in their original texts, right? Like people who've actually read Cornelius Van Til and Greg Bahnsen, right, can't find a formal argument in their writings and have a lot of difficulty even trying to charitably reconstruct one from their informal writings.
Like, I'm genuinely curious to here. I'll do the Darth move. Are all the presuppers in here cowards? Are none of you willing to step up to the plate? Will any of you actually give an argument?
Yeah, but these people are just clowns. But even Darth Dawkins, right, who's himself a clown, but maybe like a slightly higher order one. He once actually tried to.
You cut out. He what?
Sorry, he once actually tried to make an argument, and the argument was, well, I mean, we had to sort of put it in formal terms for him since he was incompetent to do so. But it seemed pretty clear that what he was saying was, knowledge and intelligibility are possible if and only if the Christian God exists. Knowledge and intelligibility are possible, therefore the Christian God exists, right? Now that's a formally valid argument, right? So we said to him, why would anybody accept the first premise? And his response was, and this is like just Zeiten Bruggencate parrotry, is due to the impossibility of the contrary, right? But saying that the contrary of that proposition is impossible is just repeating the claim. It's not justifying.
Yeah, you'd need to show like that the contrary entails a contradiction.
Yeah, they can't do that. They can't do that. They've been asked hundreds of times. All of them have been asked at one time or another to show me the contradiction. Now, what they can do is they can show a contradiction in your worldview. I mean, in some cases, right, because they're dealing with dumb people. Or, well, I shouldn't say dumb, that's unfair. But dealing with people who sort of don't have the resources to evade certain types of clever objections, right? So somebody like Darth Dawkins can interrogate the typical interlocutor to the point where he gets them to affirm a contradiction. And then he'll say, your worldview contains a contradiction, right? So they can do it they might be able to do it on a case-by-case basis, one by one. They can say, show me your worldview and I'll show you the contradiction, right? But see, that's not fulfilling the demand. The demand is to show that every worldview must contain a contradiction, right, if it denies the Christian worldview. And no one has ever been able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like just a crazy task to undertake.
It is a crazy task to undertake, which is why presuppositionalism is a completely fringe phenomenon. It's just not taken seriously by anybody, right? But, on the internet, completely fringe phenomena can have this kind of robust life, just like race realism and, all these other, this, flat earthism, all kinds of crazy ideas, right? On the internet, which are rejected elsewhere, like in the academy, say, on the internet can have this robust life.
Yeah, it's really strange. Have you ever talked to Jay Dyer?
I don't recall ever actually talking to him. Maybe once a really long time.
He's just a particularly cancerous pre-supper, and he's actually got a channel.
I think the group took it to be that Young dealt with him sufficiently.
Young annihilated him. Malpass was mentioning that a while ago, actually. He thought Young just fucking destroyed him, basically.
Oh, really? I don't think I heard. When and where did Young do this? I'm not
in his server.
I'll get you the debate, Jack.
Oh, yeah. I remember Young went in there, but I don't think I ever heard it. But
no, it's very good. Yeah. He just immediately gets to the point about he well, he formalizes like a transcendental argument. And Jay Dyer is sitting there saying, you don't know what a transcendental argument is, while Jung is offering like the formal structure and asking him to substantiate premise two. And Jay just keeps on telling him he just doesn't understand what a transcendental argument is. It's hilarious. Jung just dances circles around him in a way that, honestly, I haven't seen from Jung in like a long time. It was like really out of the blue for Jung to be so aggressive against someone, but it was great.
Right. I remember this at the time. Yeah, I forgot about. I remember this at the time. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, Jay is just, I mean, I just consider him a sophist. Like, he, how do I say this with as little history as possible? When I go and do the vegan arguments, I usually run like a kind of internal critique, and it's sort of like, I kind of probe in on that level. So, Jay Dyer, when I tried to do this to him in a debate, I was just trying to ask like this kind of standard line of questioning: cool to kill animals, not cool to kill humans. You know, what accounts for the difference there? What makes that the case? He tried to dodge that by saying that my worldview can't ground logic or something like that. And like the problem is like extremely obvious, which is that it's an internal critique. I could be completely demented. It wouldn't matter, right? It's a critique of his view based on the assumptions that he has. It doesn't matter what I think. So that happened for our whole debate, which was really cancerous. But then I went into his server kind of like Jung did and just tried to grill him. And I made this point. I was like, if person B believes some crazy shit, does that have any implication for person A's beliefs? And he wouldn't answer, and then he provided an answer that was actually completely insane, that I didn't realize was insane. He said, yes, if it's about fundamental paradigms, which like that's just those like fundamental level questions about God and shit is what he's talking about. There are like transcendentals, like the laws of logic. But think of how stupid that answer is. Are you saying that if I don't believe in like, you know, non-contradiction or something, therefore like that's some problem on your view now arises, like because of my view? It's just insane. But yeah, he will not answer that question. You can try Jay as many times as you want. If you just ask him, if it's the case that person B's worldview containing, you know, a contradiction or some kind of absurdity means that there's a contradiction or absurdity in person A's view, he will do anything within his power to dodge it, because he knows if he says no, which is the only fucking sensible answer, then his whole tactic that he deployed against me in that debate on Vegan Gains channel was just bullshit.
Yeah, presuppositionalism is basically something that's attractive either to thugs or brain damage, with very few exceptions, right? I think everybody who's sort of like adopts it is either like totally brain damaged or is just basically a thug.